think my cat is trying to get outside. Oh, told you. Wax, go back inside. Turn your booty meat around. Ah! Ah! No outside for you. Ugh. Oh my God, it's too funny. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, today you clicked on this video because I'm going to be giving you a couple scooter hacks. I think there's going to be 4. Not sure about 5, but there's going to be at least 3. So there's going to be either 4 or 5 scooter hacks in this video. But before we get into any of that, I want to go ride. And today, instead of just going to the skate park, which I've been doing for quite some time because it's been the summer, it's been the spring, it's been the fall, and we're in the fall now and it's starting to cool down. And I realized I haven't been to this one spot in like 8 months. So, like I said, normally I go to ride at the skate park, and every once in a while I go ride street spots, but I haven't ridden a DIY in a long time. That's what we're gonna do. All right, we are on our way to the DIY spot. I have to come to this little town center. Okay, you guys saw that freaking police car? So, if you don't know, the last time, which I don't think a lot of people know, the last time I went to this DIY spot, actually it was just 2 times ago, I got the cops called on me because I was being stupid and I jumped off the highway and some guy on the highway called the cops on me. Basically, you can get fined $300 if you go there. And because it's technically trespass because it's private property, because it's state property, even though the state does absolutely nothing with it and probably doesn't even know about it, to be honest with you. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to ride here, but not taking any chances. Screw that. But to be honest with you, the spots that we're heading to right now are probably less dangerous, less sketchy, and actually more fun than what I was gonna do originally down there. Alright, this next spot is a little harder to hit, but it's a lot cooler when you do hit it. So, quick little flashback. I actually fractured my entire right wrist going from this hubba all the way to the ground. Freaking sucked. Was out for like a month. Alright, add a bar. I wish I could go down, but there's a fat kink at the end, and you're not gonna catch me doing that. Try and get that again. That last one was a teensy bit sketch. I don't know if you guys could tell, but my foot slipped. But I'm gonna do it again, get a little better. Ah. All right, there we go. I'll catch you guys at the house. All right, what's good? We made it back to the house. Okay, so we're gonna start off with these couple of scooter hacks. I believe there's 5. If there's not, there's 4. So there's at least 3, like I said earlier. Just FYI, I didn't come up with all these on my own. Like, I've seen these before. So I figured if you haven't seen them, I'll tell you instead of making you go watch another person's video. This way it's all in one place. So number 1, the first one is probably gonna be the most relevant to most people in this video. By that I mean everybody can relate to this, and if you can't, you're pretty lucky. I think my cat is trying to get outside. Oh. Told you. Wax, go back inside. Turn your booty meat around. Ah! Ah! No outside for you. Ugh. Oh my God, it's too funny. Anyway, so if you have a scooter, you're 99.9% of the time gonna have a pair of these, which these are grips. And one thing that a lot of people have trouble with without an air compressor is getting them on the bars. So for say, if you buy a pair of grips and you don't buy them in a shop, you buy them from a shop from like online or something, they're not gonna come on the bars unless you buy a pair of bars and you pay them to install them for you, which costs like $10, maybe $5, something like that. And most of the times they're gonna use an air compressor. But if you don't have an air compressor and you don't wanna pay them if you don't have an air compressor and you don't wanna pay them $10 to do that for you, there's a couple ways, but the best way and the most efficient way is this. There's a lot of ways to actually get grips on your bars. You can use just your hands, which sometimes can take super long and can really rip up your skin. You can use hairspray, and then what's the other one? I know there's another one. I think you can use zip ties, which is kind of sketchy. and then hairspray, and then maybe rubbing alcohol, which those are kind of the same things. But the way I'm going to tell you is super easy. Like, super easy. And it does work with thinner grips. So if you have like ODIs or like root grips or whatever, if the grips are really thick, it might be a little bit harder, but it'll stick and you won't get throttle grip. So if you put like water under your grips and then you put your grips on, and your grips are gonna be like super throttly, and you're gonna have to wait for like a day or two for them to dry, which means you can't ride, which sucks, but you still got your grips on, and at that point it might just be worth $10. But I've seen this before and I've done it many times, and it's super easy. So I'm going to show you with one grip, because I'm not going to take both my grips off because that'd be stupid. I'm going to put one grip on, or I'm going to take one off and then put it back on in this way. Okay, so I rolled my grip off. Basically just kind of, you squeeze it off, and then it just basically just rolls up in a ball, and it just comes off the end of your bar. So basically a lot of the times you can put hairspray in this. Basically just end up putting hairspray in the grip and then just sliding it all the way on to the point where it's like here, and then you just have to wait for it to dry, and then eventually there would be no throttle grip, and then eventually, like I just said, you'll have a grip and it will work. But with this way, instead of doing all that, you actually just put the end of it on and you just make your own air compressor with your hand. It would also help to have a bar end or something closing the other end of the bar so the air doesn't just go straight through the tube. It actually just stops. Like I said, you just kind of get the end of it on, just like that. You push it down a little bit so it's a little bit more snug and it's grabbing a little bit more of the bar. And then basically just hit the top of it, and drag it down. Basically just keep doing this, and then it'll slide on pretty easily. If your grips are thick, then it might take a little bit longer. You just gotta keep going. But if they're thin, like TPRs, they'll slide on really quick. Like I'm talking like within 30 or 40 seconds. But you basically just keep doing this, and look, see how much they're already on? And you can do this at the skate park. You really don't even need any tools. You just need your hands. You just drag it in and it works. This will definitely save you time and money, and you don't have to pay the shop to do it, and you can just do it yourself. You can do it for your friends. It takes literally zero effort. It's just a few seconds, maybe a minute or so, and you're done. Then you just chuck your bar end on, just like that, and you're good to go. Okay, that's scooter hack number one. Now we go for the second one. Now, I saw this in one of Raymond Warner's videos, and I'm assuming if you guys watch any scootering content, you probably know who Raymond Warner is. This next one has to do with grips as well. Say you don't necessarily have a pair of those, and they're very cheap. They're like $2, and they're not hard to find. You just literally can go to a bike shop or like a skate shop, and they should have ODI barns or some kind of barn. It doesn't really matter. For a couple months, I was really stupid and didn't actually ride both barns. I only rode one, so I got very lucky that I didn't fall on one end of my bar, because if I did, I could have gotten impaled by this, and this is straight aluminum, so it's not like the smoothest thing, and it's not the squishiest thing. And I'm not saying this is squishy and soft, but it's much better than straight metal. So if you don't have barns and you don't know where to get them, and if you can't get them and you don't have a single barn laying around your house or your friend's house or whatever it is, you can make do as long as you have a grip. You can essentially make your own. Now, it's very simple. It's kind of doing the opposite of what I just showed you to do earlier. So instead of bringing the grip down like this, you actually just bring it up. Legit, just like that. You just bring it up like 3 or 4 times, and if you can already tell, look at that. There's some space right there. There's at least 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 centimeter or something like that. But that works because you get all that space, and if you fall on this, you're not gonna go straight to the aluminum. You're still gonna, because it's just a piece of rubber, so it's not gonna do a lot. But it will do a lot if you don't have this at all. So that's the second one. On to number 3. So this one has to do not with the grips. It actually has to do with your wheel. If you buy a scooter or you buy a pair of wheels and you want to put it on your scooter if it's not already on it, the part of the wheel that actually connects to your scooter it goes through a bearing, a spacer, and then another bearing. So a lot of times, or sometimes at least, that little spacer inside of the 2 bearings actually moves around, so it doesn't stay in one place, and you won't be able to get the axle through unless you get it right in the middle, and you can put it all the way through all 3 of them. Personally, I ride Playshion wheels, and fortunately, they actually don't have this problem. The bearing spacer in the middle stays completely still right in the middle, so you don't have to do this hack. But if that does happen to you, I'm going to try to explain how to fix it without the problem actually existing for me, so I'm just going to explain it. Right here and right here are little spacers that actually, you have to go through those spacers, your first bearing, the spacer between the bearing, and then that spacer again. So you have to fit the axle through one spacer, a bearing, another spacer, another bearing, and then another spacer. So you have to fit it through a lot of holes.
That's what she said.
Anyway, so basically you put all that stuff through and then you have to connect it with this other end of the axle, and sometimes it's hard to fit it through the middle spacer, which is the one that I'm talking about. That's the one that can often move around in between the two bearings, and it's very annoying and sometimes very difficult to actually get it to go all the way through. This trick is very easy. All you need is an extra Allen key. In fact, if you already have two, you're set. Basically, you just want to fiddle through the wheel and make it so at the point where it's completely goes, so there's a space. So the spacer's not blocking the axle. And once you get it perfectly centered, you just put the longer axle all the way through and then grab it with the other end of the axle and you'll be chilling. I hope I explained that enough. I'm sorry if I didn't. You can always just replay and try and understand it. But I think I've verbally explained it enough, okay? Next hack. This one has a lot to do with your bars. Now, when you put your bars on your scooter, if you got a new pair of bars and you're putting it on the bottom half of your scooter, a lot of people like their bars straight. Some people don't mind. Personally, I really mind. It doesn't have to be exact, but it has to be pretty close to the point where I'm not going to notice it and get mad and then be all sorts of triggered because my bars aren't straight. And plus, if I'm filming a YouTube video and my bars are crooked, it's going to annoy me while I'm filming it and while I'm editing it and while I'm writing it. So it'll just be annoying all around. So I try and keep them as straight as possible. But when you put your bars on the fork, basically a lot of the times people try and straighten them when they're very loose, like when your clamp's loose. And then when you tighten the clamp, it moves just a little bit. And then when you realize after you tightened it as much as you could, you realize it's crooked, then you have to undo it, and then you probably do that about like 5 or 6 times, and then you just get really mad at yourself. This one, you don't even need anything except for the Allen key, because if you're trying to tighten your clamp, you need an Allen key anyways. What you want to do is you want to tighten your clamp. See, mine's basically as far as it's gonna go because this clamp is pretty old. But you want to tighten your clamp to about, I don't know, maybe a third of as tight as you want it to be. So if you want it to be really tight, tighten it to that like a third of that point. This way it's not like freakishly loose and you can just like flick it with your finger and it'll move a lot, but it's not freakishly tight where you have to like run it over with a car and it barely moves. Now I'm telling you to tighten it because if you think about it, it'll be more stiff. So if you hit it against like a rock or a wall, it won't move as much, so it's easier to control. And then once you have it into that right spot, all you have to do is tighten it and it won't move because it's already tightened. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's the next day and I just wanted to explain a little bit more about the last hack. Basically, what you want to do, if you follow the instructions that I mentioned just a few seconds ago, you basically just want to bang your wheel against some sort of hard surface, like a wall, a door, or something that doesn't move, and then you just straighten your bars and you'll be chilling. But there you have it. Those are all 5 of the scooter hacks. But I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, go down below, subscribe, hit that like button, turn that notification bell on, and let me know if you guys want to see more of these videos, and I can definitely comply with that. But that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.